comment,
and subscribe for more content.
Where's the notification bell?
It's to the right of you.
Oh.
Ooh, what's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of a Funko podcast. I'm DK Wrestler.
And I'm MD Shady.
And in today's podcast, we got a great podcast for you guys today because it is a podcast with a special guest in which, without further ado, our special guest today has his Twitch channel, which has almost 5,000 followers as of this recording with thousands of combined views. Our guest has over 15,000 social media followers across Twitter and Instagram. He is a co-host of the Movie Retakes podcast with his brother Matt. He is referred to by our co-host MD Shady as Funko Jesus, and he is well known for being a longtime member of the Funko marketing team. Some people simply call him Chris, but everybody knows him as Sully. Welcome to a Funko podcast.
What's up, fanatics?
Love it. I love it. So I thought I would kick off by talking about how crazy it is to me that this whole thing has come full circle, essentially, because of the fact that I think if it wasn't for those nights where, you know, I couldn't fall asleep at like 1 or 2 in the morning and I'm looking for a podcast to listen to, all of a sudden I find the Funko Funcast. And just from there, it's like without listening to the Funko Funcast, I don't think a Funko podcast would be a thing, especially going on for, at least as of when this gets released, for almost 2 years now. And also without the Movie Retakes podcast, we wouldn't have had the idea of our podcast that we'd like to call fandom related podcast, where we talk about one certain topic throughout a whole podcast and talk about the pops involved in that. So I just wanted to say thank you, Sully, for basically being like the reason that we continue to do this podcast day in and day out. I don't know if you have anything to say, MD.
You pretty much summed it up pretty well there.
Man, well, that's quite an honor. Thank you for saying that and for pursuing your passion. That's amazing. So many people will talk about wanting to do stuff like this, but never pull the trigger. And kudos to you for making it, what you said, 2 years?
Yeah, it'll be, so this releases in January. It's the end of January. We'll mark our 2-year anniversary.
That's amazing. So many podcasts don't get past 2, 3, maybe even 5 episodes. So to go 2 years, that's very impressive. Kudos to both of you.
Thank you. So I thought for the first question, it'll be a question that all of us answers. And this is a good throwback to the Funko Funcast. And it's actually a question that you often ask whenever you have new guests on the Funko Funcast. We'll start off with you to answer this, then I'll go to myself and then MD. And that question is, does pineapple belong on pizza?
I thought it might be that or the burger one. Absolutely not. It does not belong on pizza.
I think it does not belong on pizza because I don't like pineapples in general. So that's the reason why I don't think pineapples belong on pizza.
I am a cook, so I kind of have a taste for everything. I don't personally eat pineapples on pizza, but I also don't mind them. But olives do not belong on pizza.
I agree with that one too.
We'll move on to what usually is the first question that we ask all of our guests is, what got you into collecting Funko? And especially for you, Sully, because if I'm not mistaken, you started like right at the beginning, essentially, like right in the early 2010s, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, well, 2011 is the earliest documented thing I could find. I went back through my Instagram last year. I had been telling everybody it was 2012 for the longest time, and went back to Instagram and found a picture on my desk at a job I had back then of Sully, one of my first pops, the OG Sully mainline. For me, it was I bought a gift for my wife. I bought her Hermie for Christmas. I found it at Target. I bought her the Hermie Pop. She got it, but she didn't really have an area for her stuff. So we brought it into my like computer/office room, and I put it on a shelf, and I kept working away and looking over at that thing and going, man, I really dig that. Are there more of those? And I hit enter on that search, and before I knew it, I had a couple thousand at the house. I don't know what happened. There was a blur in there from when I first learned about them all. And then there were boxes arriving 2, 3, 5 a day for like 3 years.
How long were you a Funko fanatic before you worked for Funko? And what was your initial reaction when you were hired by Funko?
I joined the Fanatic Club. I guess I was on the board, but I never was very active because about the time that I really got into it, my buddy Steve and I were starting our company Nerd Food. which was our opportunity to try and break into the industry and to have the fun of recording a podcast. He wanted to do a podcast. I did not. I was adamantly against it because I didn't like the sound of my own voice. Ironically, now who's recorded 450 episodes of podcasts? This guy, which I think is hilarious. But he really, I got to credit him for getting us into starting Nerd Foo. I mean, once we went to Comic-Con and saw this nerdy, geeky world, we're like, we're in. Like, absolutely, we're into this thing. We started sharing the things that we love, and one of those was Funko Pops. We shared that on our sites all the time, and I was buying the stuff, and we were going to the cons, and I was meeting the marketing team. I got to know Cameron and Yoko years ago, well before working there. So I had been a fanatic officially since like 2012, 2013. I got my first, the Freddy 00 and the certificate saying that I was part of the Fun Club back in the day. I've still got those as part of my collection. Then fast forward through a Fortune 100 job doing social media and 5 years of Nerd Foo. No, 4 years of Nerd Foo, and seeing all these wonderful folks at the cons and getting to be a part of the community. And I apply for the job. I fly across the country, interview, get it, move 6 weeks later to work for Funko. And that first morning, well, funny story on that, if I can go on for a bit. My first day, I was supposed to go in, and I was already interacting with Cameron and Yoko on Twitter. I go to the local coffee store right down the road from Funko HQ, which was at a different building at the time. And I'm tweeting, first day today, can't wait, I'm so excited. And I get a tweet back from Yoko that says, well, we won't see you today. I was like, wait, what? What happened? Please, God, don't tell me I moved 2,300 miles to get fired. What's happening here? I go in, and there had been a water pipe burst over the weekend that had flooded the entire marketing department. So that was November 14th of 2016. And I had to come in for a few minutes, do some paperwork. And so that made my official first day. The next day, November 15th, that just happened to be my birthday. So I started on my birthday and crossing the threshold of the building and walking in there. I had toured that building a few times, but to get to now go one layer further and to go to my desk and sit in with these people that I admired and was a fan of was very weird that first day, but also very exhilarating. So much fun. I couldn't believe I was going to get to be a part of that team. I remember it vividly. You know, I've forgotten a lot over the years, and I don't forget even the slightest little bit of that day. It's all very vivid still.
What were some licensors that weren't made before you started working for Funko, but then while you were working for Funko, Funko was able to get the license and you were like really excited for?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. There's so many that they circled back around after I had been there for a while, but while I was there, that's tough. I mean, they had the big ones already, Marvel and Star Wars and DC, but specifically down to like individual movies or TV shows, things like that. Like some of my favorites are Rob Zombie. I always wanted a Rob Zombie pop, and I asked for that for the longest time, and I'm so glad we got it. It didn't happen while I was there, but I was begging for Linkin Park, and now Linkin Park is coming. We're getting the Hybrid Theory, the Pop Rocks album. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. I'm getting several of those probably. And what else stands out? I guess it's not something I asked for or wanted, but it happened. We got Golden Girls. That was pretty exciting. I think that happened just before I came on board. And I know that was still one of the most popular licenses of all time because they're circling back around to it again here, which is crazy. Yeah. Metallica. I keep going to music ones. That's interesting. Metallica was huge. Rick and Morty was huge. That happened while I was there. Super excited about that. I think those are the big ones that stand out because I'm really a big fan of the Star Wars and Marvel, and Disney are my top favorites. And those were already well underway by the time I got there.
Yeah, I was super pumped when they announced Metallica Pops. Metallica easily in the top 3. The only problem I have with the Pops, though, is that because I do everything numerical order, I have a Kurt Cobain Pop, and I'm pretty sure that's number 65, I believe. And like the first 4 Metallica Pops are in like the 50s, but then when they made Lady Justice, that's like 89. So now it's like this gap in between. So now I've kind of broken my rule of numerical order by like, I need to have Lady Justice with the Metallica, or just doesn't seem right.
I'm so glad I didn't go down that numerical order road. You can't believe the number of conversations I had with people at the booth about, man, where is the WWE number 72? I don't know which number it was really, but it's missing in my collection. Look, and they'd show me a photo and they would have a clear pop protector in the spot where that number was supposed to be, like a placeholder. I'm like, man, I have no idea. I can't help you.
All right, so we'll move on to some fan questions over on our Instagram page. So there's 5 questions. So first question comes from @_rock_bottom_, all O's being zeros. The question they asked is, are there any pop lineups that you are hyped for? And then they wrote after, Marvel Zombies is the correct answer.
Well, I guess Marvel Zombies has to be the right answer. But if I had to pick a close runner-up, I guess this is things that have been announced, because it sounds like I need to be excited for something I already know about. I'm super excited about Motu continuing. I'm a huge Masters of the Universe fan, and I love the fact that we're constantly getting more of that, because my collection is, I think I'm 100% pop complete over the years, and I'd like to keep doing that. I'm not complete in hardly anything else. There's always a missing few, and I would like to continue that one. Of course, Linkin Park, I just mentioned. I'm super hyped about that. I hope that the albums is just the tip of the iceberg and we get the full band lineup at some point, or at least a Chester Pop. I would be super hyped about getting a Chester Pop. The new, it's not Eminem, but B-Rabbit from 8 Mile. Super excited about that. I have some theories on that one too as to why we're not getting Eminem, but that's just my personal theories. Anything else that's been announced? I'm trying to think back to Toy Fair, and I think at this point, from the stuff I saw in January, February, it's all come out at this point. So it doesn't leave much. And then thinking about any of the announcements that have come out recently, I really dig the Disney 65th. Is it 65th anniversary or Disney 65?
Yeah.
I love the figures that are coming out from that, and I love that packaging, that off-white vintage packaging. Is just, anytime that they've altered the white to anything else, I've been a fan. I love the black stuff for Batman DC. That's freaking amazing. I love the fact that they put in some of that, the embossed silver and gold on the packaging. I think that solid white packaging is so iconic, but I love when they take a little bit of a variant on that. Plus, I'm a Disney fan. Actually, last night stayed up late while I was streaming and was able to grab Walt and the Castle right before it sold out from the Disney website. I couldn't believe it happened to land on a night where I was up that late and paying attention. I rarely am paying attention on those drops these days. I'm horrible about that as a fan.
All right. This question comes from our good friend, actually, over at Funko Pop Monthly, in which he asks, what was your favorite part about working for Funko?
Oh, boy, there's so many to list on this. I think it boils down to one thing, though, and that is people. I loved working with the people I worked with. They were my family, still are. I just literally 2 minutes before I got the link from you to show up today, I was on a call with most of the Funkast, just lacking one, but I saw him earlier today online. So we still keep in contact. We're all still very close, but throughout the building. I mean, I still talk to Reese, the artist, and several of the other team members there. And that was one part of it. The bigger part of it, as far as people goes, was going to the conventions and talking to other collectors. And notice I don't say fans. I don't consider them fans of me or just the Funkast, but these are people that I knew, many of them, before going to work at Funko. They were other collectors, other fanatics like myself. I just happened to have this job where I was on the other side of the ropes, as you might put it. Those are my friends. I got to go to the cons and see them. And so that was something I look forward to, especially the big ones. When we go to Emerald City, San Diego, New York, I knew I was going to see certain faces at all of them. Some would be San Diego only, some would be New York only, but getting to catch up and say, what have you been up to? What have you been collecting? What are you excited about here? You know, just having those conversations. And I still get to do it now on my Twitch channel. I mean, not going to lie, our conversations all revolve around food, movies, television, and collectibles. It's the same thing I've been doing, just in a different format, you know, but getting to have these long form conversations with people about that has always been my passion. I just love talking nerd, and I got to do that a lot while working at Funko.
This next question comes from Noel Tronks. He asks, you love Mike Wazowski, right? ?
I mean, sure, he's half of the team, but I am definitely the Sully guy, and I know someone who is a big Mike collector. So if I ever get Sully stuff that comes in the pairing, I usually send her the Mike stuff, or at least reach out to see if she's interested in it.
This question comes from @GBoatsPopVinyl, another good friend of our channel. He asks, why did Funko not come back to Toronto in 2019 for Fan Expo?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know 100% the answer. I'll be honest. It's not like we got to decide which cons we were going to go to as a marketing team. It was a much bigger decision up the chain. I was bummed. I really enjoyed going to Toronto. That was a great convention. I know it was big for Funko because so many Canadian fans. It was big for me. My brother lives in Ottawa, so it's great to be up there close to family and be able to jet on over if I want. But also, I thought it was great for that convention. When Funko arrived at that convention, we were like, hey, guys, you need to have, what's your line situation? How do you handle lines here? And they're like, oh, it's fine. Everybody's nice. They'll just line up in your booth. And we're like, no. I don't think you know what's about to happen. You need to be prepared. And like, oh, it'll be fine. Everybody will be nice. Boy, by day 2, they were scrambling to figure out how to handle that mass of people sprinting across the show floor and where to corral them and line them up. And I mean, it just, anytime Funko signs up for a con and says we're going to be there, it changes that con. it's a whole different ballgame. There's so many fans across the world. I can only imagine if Funko said, we're going to do a con in Dubai next year, what would that look like? You know, that would change the landscape for anything that they're doing over there. I don't know. They probably have their own cons. I don't know. I've never heard of it. But anyway, I don't know the answer on why they didn't return. I wish they had. I would have loved to have gone back myself. I would have made that an annual trip if at all possible. That would have been a blast.
I don't know, MD, if you want to talk about our experience when we went to Fan Expo that year, because we were there. We're from Canada, so we're actually decently close to the convention itself, and we were actually able to go and kind of experience that whole like hectic lineup that was the Funko booth. That I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah, so we are from Canada. We actually live in the same city as Tristan, so we're kind of buddies, I guess, kind of rivals a little bit too, you could say. But yeah, Fan Expo, that was crazy. I remember at one point, we went to the Funko booth as early as we could right when we got in, and they were saying, okay, well, it's not open yet. You're going to have to come back at this time. And we were like 7 minutes late maybe, and the lineup was just insane. And we got to the back of the lineup, and then the security guards are telling us like, no, you can't get in this line. What's the point? And we were like, no, screw that. We're getting in this line. And we waited like 45 minutes or whatever it was. By the time we got to it, like pretty much everything was sold out. So that was
I
awesome.
always like to tell the story of, I think it was 2015 or no, it was 2016. No, it was 2015. Sorry. 2015. I was still a fan, had not worked at Funko yet, and went to San Diego Comic-Con, and that was pre-lottery days, and got in line 2 nights in a row, slept on the concrete for 9 hours outside and inside. I say slept, we napped here and there. Got at the top of the stairs, the escalators, went down, sprinted to the Funko booth, and 2 days in a row, the exact same security guard put his hand in my chest and said, nope, line stops here. I was the first person he stopped both days. So I know that heartache. I know exactly what it's like. But that mass of people, that energy, that everybody going to that booth with such excitement, and to be cut off like that, like it's not in my nature to get super angry at stuff like that. And I didn't. I was like, well, I tried. The second day was definitely a bit more pushing me to get excited and angry. And I still was like, you know what? I tried. I'm going to go on and do other things. I can't do anything else about it. But I saw that security guard last year, and I told him that story, and he was like, well, you should have been quicker. All right, man, I officially hate you now. Whatever.
All right. 5th and final question from @Nerd&Cheese. What is the first podcast you remember listening to?
That's a great question. And actually, we did an episode of the Funko Funcast to pay homage to this one. It was called Seen Unseen. It was SCEN, like a movie scene, and then unseen, UNSEEN. And it was a group of 2 guys, and they would have a guest on. One guy would watch the movie that just came out of the theaters, and the other guy would only read the synopsis and watch the trailers. And they would talk about the film and decide whether people needed to go to the theater to see it. They had a great rapport, and they were able to get some pretty good stars on there that you knew from television and film. And they went for like 3 or 4 years before someone figured out their real names, and they were in the industry, and it got them in real trouble because they knew a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and they had to close it down. So we did our Bird Box review episode based on Seen Unseen in that style, because only half of the Funcast had seen it and the other half had not. And I really wish that podcast would come back. I always really, really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that sounds like something that would be right up my alley. That is awesome.
And speaking of the Funko Funcast, that segues to our next question, which is, how did the Funko Funcast begin? Was it a Brian Mariotti idea, or was it one of your guys' ideas?
When I applied for the marketing position at Funko, again, it was in 2016, I flew up to Seattle area, went to HQ, and sat down with who would be my boss, Mark Robin. Great guy. We still talk. He's over at QMX now. And we were talking in the interview, and he said, hey, if you come on board, if this works, would you want to do a podcast? Because he knew I had been doing one for Nerd Foo for years. We had already done 200 episodes at that point, I think. He said, would you want to do it? And I was like, would I? Like, absolutely. He's like, well, pitch me on the idea right now. Like, tell me, what would you think it would look like? What would it sound like? So I gave him a rough idea. And then when I was driving cross country, because I didn't fly, I drove a bunch of my personal stuff across, and then a moving truck came later. 2,300 miles, which is 34 hours in the car. A lot of brainstorming. And a lot of that was, what is this going to be? I'm about to record a podcast with people I barely know. I've seen them at cons. I've got to give it a structure. I'm very big on structure when it comes to podcasts, segments and certain questions and how do you attack it, just to keep everybody on track, And I was just brainstorming and coming up with with these ideas. And then I was like, what's the name? And believe it or not, I came with Funko Funkast while driving across the country on my own. And I pitched it as soon as I got back. And he's like, that's it. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. And boy, when 2 weeks in, he's like, I need an equipment list. Tell me what you want. Let's make this happen. We'll get it together. And at first it was, you throw some people together, don't know each other all that well. It takes a little time to meld. But by our 4th or 5th episode, I really think we were starting to develop some rapport, and we already were building some of those nuanced things like catchphrases and things like that. And it just got more and more comfortable as time went on. And then doing the lives. Holy crap. I so enjoyed doing those lives, and doing San Diego Comic-Con last year in front of an audience of 1,000 people was, as far as I'm concerned, that and our Funky Hundo were like the coolest moments ever in my podcast resume, if you might call it.
Are there any funny stories while traveling with the Funkast? And it can be anything, honestly. Like, if it's, for any of the listeners, I'm just going to make this up. I don't think this obviously happened. But let's say the Funkast is walking down the streets of Toronto and then Dima slips on a banana peel. Like, it can be any.
You know what? We had a lot. Like I was saying, those folks are my family for sure. And we got along really well. And so anytime we would go to a city, we would work our tail off all day and then go out and have steak dinner and a beer and just relax as a family. And we never really got on each other's nerves. Like you'd think it would have happened in the number of hours we spent together, but no, it didn't. But I think the funniest one, the one that comes to mind immediately, we call it the suicide run. We did D23, which is a 4-day con, then a 3-day break to drive from there to San Diego to do a 4-day San Diego Comic-Con. So 8 days on our feet at the cons in the course of a, 19-day span, something like that. No, like a 10-day span, 11-day span. And it was just insane. We should not have done it. But we, when we were at D23, we got to go to one panel. They invited us to, and like, y'all can come and sit in this panel. So we did. And part of the story of it was why they have those balloons at Disney. They're clear, and then they have the Mickey head inside. It's another balloon. And there was a story about how the green balloon meant so much. And it was like a real emotional thing. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God. Then all of a sudden they came out and they had hundreds of these balloons and started handing them to people in the audience. And I'm like, do we get a balloon? And Yoko heard me, and she went over and grabbed a green balloon that was one of the only ones left and gave it to me because she had heard me say that. That's cool. I got this awesome balloon. Yoko went and got it for me. So we had it in the hotel room. We went to go drive from D23 to San Diego. We're in the car halfway there. We had rented a van and I'm driving. And I had realized already that I forgot the balloon in the hotel room. And I'm trying to not call attention to it. And then all of a sudden somebody mentioned the balloon and I could hear Yoko gasp. She's like, where's the balloon? I was like, oh, I left it in the hotel. I didn't live that down for like 2 years. She was so angry that I left the balloon that she worked so hard to get. So every once in a while, somebody would be like, where's the green balloon, Sully?
So later on this year, we unfortunately had to hear about rumors about potential employees being let go from Funko. And it just so happens, literally, I'm reading these articles and I'm like, Sully can't be one of them. There's no way. And then literally days later, I hear, oh, Sully's one of them. Should have kept my mouth shut there, DK Wrestler. Should have kept my mouth shut. But anyways, obviously, I'm not going to go into like what your feelings were because obviously it would have been such an upsetting experience. But a question that I'm not sure if you're able to discuss is, what announcements did Funko make that you knew about before being let go, but were announced later on? Like, did you know about possibly the Anchorman pops long before it got announced?
No, I had not seen anything on those other than the main announcement that everyone saw. But I was part of conversations. We didn't get to like develop stuff. That was definitely the art team and ownership. We did occasionally have our hands in building like, we'd call them decks, where we would go and pitch stuff to other companies for their marketing purposes. And so I had seen, in fact, a lot of the Disneyland 65 stuff, had not seen the packaging, but I knew about the train with all the different characters. I had seen the Walt and the castle in that deck, and that was almost a year ago, right? Some of that stuff is developed way far in advance. I mean, years sometimes. And so I would occasionally see that. That's the one that stands out. I did know that our licensing team was talking to Linkin Park because, of course, I was very vocal about being a huge fan. And so my buddy who was in licensing was talking to him, and he goes, hey, we got somebody here that's just a giant fan. You got any swag you can throw our way? So I got a couple of really sweet shirts that I've never seen before anywhere else that they sent. One's this awesome long sleeve white that I've never worn before because it's a white shirt and I will get like mustard or ketchup or something on it. So it's still sitting in the closet 2 years later. But there were several of those that I knew about. I think I may have messed up twice in my whole time there to confirm something or accidentally bring it up. I was very careful about that, very cognizant of it, because it is a big deal. I don't want to get on a soapbox, but to this day, still on my streams, people go, hey, did you see the such and such announcement? I'm like, wait a minute. Was it an announcement by Funko, or was it one of those other channels that loves to leak stuff?
Oh, those channels.
Yeah, thank you. That is the exact right response. No one should be leaking this stuff beforehand. I don't understand the need to, I got to see the line items, the listings without a photo. Why would anyone want that? You know, or here's a grainy picture from the back of a storeroom somewhere. I don't get it. Again, I won't go on the soapbox, but like, I just don't understand why that needs to be a thing. So I've always been very careful about it. It does get people in trouble if it gets leaked, and I hate to see that happen to anybody. I like the excitement of opening up Instagram and seeing a nice rendering with the cool backgrounds and the full lineup announcement with the logos for the different companies and where there'll be exclusives and all that. That's how I want to see it.
Yeah.
I wish everyone would stop interacting with those accounts and want to see that way.
I will say I do follow some of those accounts, but only for the fact of like they have links up for Pop's releases. That's it. Like recently, one of the New York Comic-Con announcements, what was it? Young Ben from Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
No one knew about it. Like, I'm pretty sure no one knew about it. Like, none of those pages reported anything about it. There's a lot of the shared ones that did get reported, and obviously we unfortunately had to see beforehand. But then you get those announcements that just, it's so well worth kind of like the surprise. I love what I call the surprise element.
Yeah, everybody enjoys it so much more that way, I think. And think about this, something I couldn't talk about while I was there, but I would love to defend Funko and the marketing team there now, because of course I still have friends there. And that is, think about the impact that has on those people and the artists who work so hard to keep that stuff under wraps and develop this really cool material to put on the social channels. And can you imagine the impact of the likes and follows and interactions on a post where no one's ever seen the image before or the announcement versus the one that everyone's known about for 2 weeks? Well, the numbers are everything. So if the marketing team gets to break something and they get 1 million or 2 million likes on a post versus they don't get to break it and it only gets 100 or 200,000, that could be the difference in someone's pay for a year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting a little deep in the weeds there. It's not due to one post, but when it continuously happens, you can't steal the thunder from the company making it. And yet that's what's happening, unfortunately.
Yeah. Whenever we decide to record a podcast and we talk about the week's Funko Pop announcements, I make sure that every announcement has to be from some sort of actual reliable source, whether it's Funko's Instagram page or Facebook page, or if it's maybe even like Pop Culture from Australia, who sometimes maybe they'll release a pop earlier than normal. Like I know as of this recording, the Funko Fridays at Target are going on, and some of those are kind of getting released earlier before Target, but at least I know Pop Culture is a reliable source compared to some of the pages that I've seen on Instagram and all that.
That is the right approach to take. Yep. I love it. That's exactly what everybody should be doing. I wish everybody had that mindset.
So obviously, after all that, you had started a Twitch channel. So clearly you're doing something great. It's not one of those situations where if something bad happened to you and then you end up sitting on a couch for months drinking alcohol for days and days, or as our friends over at K-Dog and Fish call it
out right now.
or as our friends at K-Dog and Fish call it, they call it ginger ales. They don't
ginger ales. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. You started a Twitch channel. And so for those that might not know what Twitch is, what is Twitch? And then obviously you do play games or you stream games, I should say, on Twitch. Is there more than just streaming games? And what games do you play on Twitch?
I love that you approached the question that way. Something I've been struggling with since first I started on Mixer and then Mixer closed down and I went to Twitch, is the fact that Twitch is, and this isn't a slight against them, it's an opportunity. They don't advertise. Have you ever seen a commercial for Twitch? No, doesn't exist.
No.
I've never seen one. It is a huge missed opportunity for them. There is this mindset for most people when you say Twitch, if they've ever heard about it before, it's, oh, I'm watching people play games on there, right? That's what that would be. No. Somebody I was having a conversation with the other day. It's another podcast I did. The recording comes out in a couple weeks. Worded it as it's a place for engagement. And I never heard it worded like that. It's perfect. It's refined. It's simple. That's exactly what it is. Twitch is a live broadcasting platform where you as a content creator, and that's anyone that does art, music, podcasts, gaming. I've seen it all. Like I know someone that does therapy on Twitch, and does a wonderful job with it, talking to people and helping them through mental issues and stuff publicly so everyone can benefit from it. But it is a place for engagement. The content creators can go on there, they can stream. It's very one way in the video sense, but then people can type in and they can share emotes and they can share links and they can send tips and buy a subscription to your channel. And so as a content creator, I can do whatever I want. And I've developed my own thing, and that is I usually kick off my streams by spending the first 30 minutes to an hour saying hello to everyone. I call them by name. I see how they've been doing. We chat. We talk about things. I catch them up to date with projects that I'm working on. Like we just did this big giant Extra Life campaign where we raised almost $40,000 for CMN hospitals. Very proud of that. And that took a lot of work. But the whole team, all my viewers, the people that were there, helped me make the decision live in a stream to go at that, to try it. And they helped me develop the concepts and the ideas. And we talked about it. They watched me get the team set up. They joined the team. They did some fundraising on their own. It was very much an engaged thing. It was not a one-way thing. But after I do that first 30 minutes or an hour where I catch up with people, I play video games. A lot of times it's been a whole lot of Rocket League, which was one of my all-time favorite games. I play the hell out of Rocket League. Thank you. We got another fan. Fall Guys. I'm finally getting decent at Fall Guys, and I've gotten like 20, 25 crowns at this point, I think. I've played in the past Animal Crossing, PGA Tour, 2K21. I can't remember the name of the game on the Switch that I played. We'll jump around. Recently, I've been playing Miles Morales on the PS5. Unlike other streamers, I'm not just focused on that the whole time. It is still about the engagement. I have things you can buy on my channel I call shout outs, where someone can spend points that they earn on my channel. And I just take the time. I know I'm showing it to you guys as an audio thing, but I just take the time to draw their name or whatever phrase they want on a Post-it note. And I do it live so they can see it now. I have a second camera so they can see what I'm drawing. And I put a little artistic flair on it with my own font and colored markers and stuff like that. And I just read that some other streamer did something similar, and I thought I'll try it. It's been huge. People love it. They're like, oh, they're sold out for today. Because I make them, you know me, I learned some things from Funko. We make limited edition anything we get a chance to do. So I only do so many shout outs per session. So I'm not drawing the whole time. I mean, look at all I just went through in the last 5 minutes. I am all over the board. We play games to give away prizes. I have what I call the box game. You spend points to buy a raffle ticket. Doesn't cost you a dime out of your pocket. It's all funny money. And if you win, you get to pick from one of 4 boxes. And in there could be a limited edition pop or a Dorbs or a set of stickers or a t-shirt or whatever.
Funny that you mentioned about that you play Rocket League, because right when you said that, then I look at MD and I'm thinking, is he thinking right now of asking if he wants to be Epic Friends on Rocket League right now?
I would absolutely welcome you to come in. We let folks come in and play on my stream all the time. So if you can ever join us, please do. We'll get you in some games.
Awesome.
So now we're going to move on to our game. So this game we do with every guest that we have. It's called Keep One, Sell One, Destroy One. So we have 5 rounds of this. And basically how this is played is that I'm going to name off 3 pops. And simply between these 3 pops, and they're all different themes based off of, if you've talked about it on movie retakes, Funko Funkast, anything that's about you. And basically through these 3 pops, you have to keep one, sell one, or simply destroy one. However, whether it's run it over with a car, light it on fire, or whatever. Anything.
The last one stresses me out, man. I can't even imagine this already. Okay, here we go.
All right. So the first category is movie theme, considering you have the Movie Retakes podcast. So a couple of these have been actually from movies that you've discussed on the Movie Retakes podcast. And one of them was actually from a Funko stream that you talked about this pop. So we got the 2014 San Diego Comic-Con Ghostbusters Marshmallow 4-pack, the scented Brian Fantana from this year's San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And then the third pop is the glow-in-the-dark Gremlin, or it's known as Stripe, but on the pop, it says Gremlin. It's the Chase variant.
Yeah. Keep Ghostbusters, sell Gremlin, destroy Brian Fantana. And I like that pop, but of the 3, yeah, it's the one that's got to go. Also, it smells like liquid garbage. Yeah, it's like hot garbage.
We'll let MD go next.
Okay, I would keep the Gremlin because Gremlins is one of my favorite movie franchises of all time. I would sell the 4-pack because I feel like that probably has a little more value than the Anchorman Pop. And then I would destroy the Anchorman Pop because it's the newest one and I haven't seen it in person yet, so I don't really have like a strong connection to it right now.
I'd probably keep Brian Fantana just because I love the idea that it's scented. I think that's so amazing. Never did I think. Now it makes Funko collectors think. It's like, what does Sex Panther cologne smell like? And so I just think that idea is just so amazing. So I got to keep that. I'd probably sell Stripe and then destroy the Marshmallow 4-pack because I think even now, I think Funko, with evolving with the way they detail their pops, that I feel like they've made a couple new variants that are slightly better, especially the way they make the marshmallow. All right, next one is games, of course, because Twitch channel, there's games. So the E3 2019 limited to 1,500 piece Kate Diaz, it's the all blue pop, Knuckles from the OG Sonic the Hedgehog lineup. And this one is a pop that Sully owns, and that is the Blockbuster exclusive Master Chief.
First of all, great research. This is fantastic. These really hit home. You did your homework. I love it. Let's see. I'm keeping the Master Chief Gold because that is straight fire for collectors and myself. I am going to sell Kate. And I was there at that con. People were freaking out about that pop. It was way more popular than I thought it would be. And destroy Knuckles because I dig Sonic, but not that much.
All right, MD.
Okay, I would also keep the Master Chief because, man, I don't even know what the sticker on that box looks like, but it's got to be cool because it's Blockbuster and Halo's awesome. I've loved Halo forever. I would sell, it's Kate Diaz?
Yes.
I would sell the Kate Diaz because apparently people love it and I feel like it would sell easy. And then I would destroy the Knuckles, even though it is a pop that I really do want to have in my collection, but I'm really hoping for a new Knuckles to come out.
I'm going to have to keep Knuckles just because Knuckles is so awesome. I love Knuckles. I would sell the Master Chief and then destroy the Kate Diaz just because I'm not the biggest fan of Gears of War. So next category, right up Sully's alley. I made sure this had to be a category. Masters of the Universe.
Oh, I knew it. I knew you were going there, Pixar.
For this one, I went with more recent Masters of the Universe just in case MD didn't know some of the older ones because I was going to throw in like OG She-Ra and like the Disco Skeletor from like 2014. Anyways, so the three pops I've listed here, 10-inch Disco Skeletor from the Funko shop this year, Flocked Grizzler, and the Emerald City Comic-Con 2020 Slime Pit He-Man. Keep one, sell one, destroy one. Obviously, we'll go the same order every time now. So Sully's first, MD second, myself last.
That's tough. I think I'm going to keep Disco Skeletor. I think I'm going to sell Slime Pit He-Man and destroy Grizzler. That's a really tough one.
I would keep the Slime Pit He-Man because that is the only Masters of the Universe pop I have in my collection. So why not have that be that one that I keep? I guess I would sell the Disco Skeletor and I would destroy the Grizzler.
I would keep the 10-inch Disco Skeletor. Now, I do want to mention to everyone listening right now, I have never seen Masters of the Universe yet, but it is something I do plan on watching, especially because this is one thing that happens when you're a Funko collector, where there's some licensors you've never heard of or never watched, but like some of these things just like, I can't even tell you the amount of licensors that I've seen through Funko that I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch this movie or I'm going to play this game. So it's great that Funko does that kind of thing. So the way that the 10-inch Disco Skeletor looks, absolutely awesome. I love it. So I'm going to keep that. I'm going to sell Flocked Grizzler and then the Slime Pit He-Man. It's only like a one color variant. Yeah, I would destroy Slime Pit He-Man. All right. Next category, a favorite category of MDs, ad icons.
Ooh.
But it's also one for Sully also. Rice Krispies 3-pack, the Flocked Trix Rabbit, and then Sunny from Cocoa Puffs.
Keep Snap Crackle Pop. Oh. It was Snap Crackle Pop, Tricks, and what was the other one?
The Cocoa Puffs mascot, Sunny.
Cocoa Puffs. Yeah.
It's the bird.
We'll destroy Sunny and we'll keep Tricks. I'm sorry. Keep Snap Crackle Pop, sell Tricks, destroy Sunny.
So I would keep the Rice Krispies 3-pack because that is a pop that I own. Then I would sell Sunny because I believe that has like a $230 Canadian value right now. And then I would destroy the Tricks, even though, damn, that's a pop I really want.
I'm going to have to go the same thing with you, MD. And it's very sad to do this because I actually tried Trix cereal for the first time not too long ago, and I love it. But I know that Sunny does have a huge value point, so I feel like I'd be stupid to just destroy that. The last category, I feel like this one is going to break the heart of Sully because every single pop
Oh no,
It's a Sully pop.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
I thought about doing all Monsters Inc., but I feel like it would have been way easier at that point because if I named one Sully, one Mike, and let's say like
Roz.
Wow, I can't. Yeah, Roz.
Always watching.
We got ourselves the Flocked Sully, the most recent one from Toys R Us, the Metallic Sully from the Monsters University lineup, SDCC 2013, and then the SDCC 9-inch Sully with Boo.
Keep Sully with Boo, sell Flocked Sully, destroy Metallic Sully. And I know there's a huge value difference there. I know exactly what those Sullys are going for, but the metallic one, as cool as it is, as valuable as it is, there's something about flocked pops for me, and I dig that flocked Sully. At least you didn't have to pit my OG flocked Sully from SDCC in there, because there would have been no debate that's the keeper. But
So I couldn't have said it better myself, going with exactly what Sully said.
Yeah, obviously, I could have easily had time to think about this too, since I have all the notes down. I would keep the Sully and Boo. It's a cool little, what I like to always say on the podcast, 2-for-1 deal. You get 2 pops for the price of 1. And I might have to go opposite. I'll have to say sell Metallic Sully, because obviously there's a value. And then the Flocked Sully that was recent, obviously, I feel like would be the least valued pop. So then you'd have to destroy it. Although the detail is really nice on that pop, since Funko does evolve in their detailing of pops.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, that's the end of that game.
That's a good game, man. I like that. That was fun.
Here we go. The last 2 big questions. So first off, what is the future for Sully? That is the first part of the question. And then the second part is, what would you want to see Funko make next? And I'm going to put a little twist on this. That isn't either Letterkenny, a Whataburger ad icon, or anything to do with Monsters, Inc., including potential pops for the upcoming Disney Plus series.
Your research is impeccable, sir. I appreciate that. You're probably the most prepared of any podcaster I've ever guested on, as far as specific to me. That was really impressive. I mean, honestly, for me, what comes next, I like what I'm doing with Twitch. I love engaging with people, but there's no comparison of engaging with people in person versus doing it virtually online. This Zoom meeting is fantastic, but if I could have sat at a table with you guys and podcasted, it would have been so much different. It would have been so much more engaging, right? I love that. I love talking to people in person, and I miss the cons oh so dearly. I was going to them for years before I started working at Funko. I can't wait to get back to that world. So assuming that we get past COVID and there is some quote unquote normalcy in the world and the cons come back, I will be at them in some way, shape, or form. I don't know what that looks like exactly right now. Will I be working with a company like Funko or someone that I know? What cons will I be going to? What can I afford to do? You know, now I've got like a partner in G Fuel for my stream. And when there's gaming conventions, they have a presence and they've already said, we want you to be there. So I may be going to some different conventions now. But the long and short of it is I want to get out there. I want to be on the road. I want to go visit cons, other cities, comic book stores, places that my friends own. I want to do more podcasting, more videos. I constantly want to be going on this kind of stuff. I really look forward to getting out there and being amongst the people again, because I miss it so much. I got to have that. As far as what will Funko make next, what would I like them to make next? I've got a standard answer I've given for the last few years. One of my childhood things that I share with a couple of friends was V. V was one of them. I'm so happy we're getting those from the TV series, the miniseries. But Greatest American Hero. I loved the 80s show Greatest American Hero. Sadly, I tried to watch it recently and it does not hold up, but I immediately put it back in the box and said, I'm going to keep what I had in my brain there. And I want a Greatest American Hero pop. I think that'd be amazing.
All right, guys, so that's going to be the end of this week's podcast. If you enjoyed this week's special edition of a Funko podcast, make sure you smash that like button to let us know that you're enjoying the content being provided to you guys on this channel. Comment in the comments section below, of course, if you enjoyed this podcast, and play along to our Keep One, Sell One, Destroy One game in the comments section below. Press that subscribe button for more content like this podcast and any other videos we do on this channel in the future, and press the little bell beside it to be notified of when that future content gets released.
Make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at a Funko Podcast. It'll be listed in the description below.
But anyways, thank you all for listening to this episode of a Funko Podcast, and see you guys next week. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.
Chris, thanks for coming on. Peace in, peace out.
For anybody who wants to see or hear more of what I'm doing, come follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Twitch. I am at CS Sully. And as always, nerds unite.